Hey guys, this is David Miller here with WikiPicks.com. I want to talk about these Week 1 NFL lines that have been out since around May. And the lines I'm using are courtesy of Bet Phoenix. As you can see, they offer a 5-cent line. And they have some pretty good deposit bonuses as well. If you're interested, we have the link under our affiliates tab for them. The first game I want to talk about is this Minnesota-New Orleans game. It opened at 3.5 and 4 around town. Brett Favre did his retirement speech, so it went up to about 6.5. And then when he decided that he does want to play, back down to 4. Currently sits at 4, and there's some 3.5s out there as well. Another game is this Miami-Buffalo game. It's had a pretty good move. Miami opened at a 2-point favorite, 1.5 in a couple of spots, and it currently sits at 3, pushing 3.5. This is probably because Buffalo's shown really no sign of life. And when teams show no sign of life, I'm not saying always, but in the long run, a lot of money will come in on the other team and not that much on them. So Buffalo having the lowest win total at 5 wins means they're expected to win around 5 games. Just doesn't really set them up for a lot of early money coming in on them. And what you should do if you like them is wait till 5 minutes before kickoff, where this line will probably max out at 3.5 or 4. So if you like Miami, you might want to lock that one in now, as it looks like it might get away. And another game here is Atlanta and Pittsburgh. This line opened at Pick'em, and it currently sits at Atlanta at a 2.5-point favorite. And if I had to guess, this is probably the early money taking Atlanta because Ben Roethlisberger is not going to play. Which, they might be right. But I want to advise all the people that are going to take Pittsburgh that they should wait because this 2.5 here, it has the potential to go to 3. So, for example, if you were to just wait on it and it went down to maybe +2 or +1.5, no big deal. But if you wait and it goes to 3, 3 is the most key number in NFL. The difference between having +3 or +2.5, it's a pretty big difference. And if it did go down to maybe 1 or 1.5, you could just pass as well if you figure that the value got away. So for Atlanta, you might want to lock it in now if you like them, because if it does get better, it goes to 2 or 1.5. No big deal, -1.5 or -2.5. Every point is actually a big deal, but it's worth the risk because if it goes to 3 and you bet -3 and they win by 3, you would break even. A lot of times these games do fall on the favorite winning exactly by 3. So just something to keep in mind for that game. We also have another early move here. Nothing major though. It's 3 -115 for Houston, which is about halfway between 3 and 2.5. So it's kind of getting away if you like Houston there. We've also got this Green Bay Philadelphia game. Now, nothing's really changed here, but this is a good example here of if you were going to guess which team would have the money come in on them. I would say most of us think that Green Bay basically the -1 will go up to 2, 2.5, or 3. And this is because, Green Bay looked real good last year. And they had a lot of money come in on them towards the end of the year. And this carries over to the next year a lot. Also a negative for Philadelphia is Donovan McNabb left them. So it's kind of like a bad thing for one team and a good thing for the other. And that's usually what it is. Trust your gut instinct when you're trying to figure out which way these lines are going to move. You'll usually be right. So the obvious, don't bet the obvious, but the obvious for which way the line's going to move, you can trust that. San Francisco and Seattle. I'm not quite sure which way this line's going to move, and I don't. If I was going to say, yeah, it's really tough, but I want to advise you guys on how to bet this game. If you want Seattle, I would wait. This is kind of like that Atlanta-Pittsburgh game. Getting an extra half point with this 2.5 so that you have Seattle +3 is really key. And on the other hand, if you like San Francisco, you might want to bet it now because -2.5 is no big deal, but -3, it's just a big difference. And let's see here. We got a lot of games around 3 actually. And getting these half points on and off of 3, it's just key. I mean, it's the difference between wins, losses, and pushes. Because if you just look each week, I mean, so many games fall by a team by 3. And one thing I wanted to talk about too, the factors that will move these lines are, well, obviously if there's injuries and things like that, but these preseason games as well. These are going to be what people look at to figure out who they're going to bet so that the lines will move. And one thing I want to say is be careful because these teams, they're not going at 100%. You know, the first stringers are getting very limited action. The rookies, it's their first time playing. And they're just kind of all getting comfortable playing with each other. An example I could use, I guess, is the Colts last year. They had a pretty bad preseason. They went 1-3. They didn't look very good. And then they went to the Super Bowl. So just because a team goes 1-3, it doesn't mean they're not a good team. What I would use these preseason games for, guys, is to let you know which way the line's going to move. So, for example, if Detroit looks real good in the preseason here, most likely this +7 over here will go down. So if you see them looking real good, you could lock your bet in early. It's just kind of something that you can gauge which way the lines are going to go. So factor it in. Lesson for the day. Factor it in, but don't go overboard. This is David Miller here with WikiPicks.com. Thanks, guys.